Hi guys, welcome back to more Nier Replicants. So we're gonna be doing the second walkthrough. Okay, let's get started. Then the first one took me 23 hours, almost 24 hours. Holy cow.
Whenever I interacted with Kaine, I was reminded about something from my past. Maybe my mind has been confusing her with my sister this whole time. Anyway,
Kindness dream discrimination. Oh. Okay. The son of rain filled village. The stiff cliffs surrounding the area magnified sound, causing even the slightest drizzle to rattle like a thunderstorm. Thin whips of smoke streamed from huts as the villagers huddled in their homes and waited out the rain. A single child, however, had braved the downpour and was now wandering slowly towards the wooden, hawk-shaped weather vane at the center of town. Get out of here. The wanderer reached the vein, which had existed for long as any could remember, and stared. The child's face was seamlessly delicate and fierce like a teacup that had survived a shipwreck. Those traits combined with pale white skin to give the face an almost sexless quality. If the big turns east, I go home. If it stays west, then I. The child blinked, rain slowly dripped down the young one's short hair and began its long descent to the ground. Come on, come on. The child felt a slight breeze and watched as the veins slowly creaked wide. Spinning this way and that for a moment, it finally settled with the beak pointing firmly toward the east. East. Really? Before the vane could move again, a jack rock came spinning and tumbling through the air, striking home against the child's head. The force of the blow dropped the child to the ground as a hail of stones began to fall all around. Oh no, they found me. A heartbreaking smile crept across the child's face as the stones continued their assault. The rain. The sound of multiple footsteps grew louder before a voice rang out. Yoo-hoo, Kanye! Voice belonged to Demo, worst of all, the bullets in the area. Oh. As Kanye struggled to stand, a final stone came scattering into the mud and bounced against her foot. Blood oozed from a cut from her eye above her eye and blurred her vision, but she could make out the shapes of Demo and his usual gang of idiots. The boy seemed taken aback for a moment by Kennedy's indifference to the blood dripping from her face, but quickly regained his bravado. What's up, freak? You like the rain? You like getting all wet? Or did your family decide to run away from home? Though she knew he was fussed out, Kanye turned to leave. Before she could get more than a few steps, the other children scrambled to surround her, cruelty burning in their eyes. Kanye knew those were not the only eyes on her. The tormentor's parents watched from the safety of their home. She was attuned to this sensation. It was one she had experienced many times before. While some villagers simply turned a blind eye to the actions of their children, many encouraged it openly. It's a society ruled by superstition and fear. Kanye was something to be hated and it's possible destroyed. Wow. I didn't say you could live free. Wow, so she was being bullied? Damn kids. Tima's words shot at her like a worm through an apple. He can't hurt me, she lied to herself. Be strong, be brave. He can't hurt me, he can't hurt me, he can't hurt me. Oh look, the little freak is gonna cry. What's wrong? Are you sad that everyone hates you and wants you dead? Okay. Kanye prayed for the rain to fall down and carry her away from a far world, from a world that seemed to have no place for her. But if they were the gods, they chose to ignore her as Demo crept ever closer. The clouds began to thin and the rain showed I think that's why Kanye, I think I said her name right. Yay! I think that's why she's the way she is. She was bullied. She was little, right? Uh, uh, yeah, she was little, right? Even the weather hates me. I'm useless, a failure. I wish Demon's Rock had taken my head off. Wow. Yeah. Damn kids, man. Kenny could meet Demon's leering gaze. She lowered her eyes and stared at the muddy ground below. The bully moved forward until he was inches away. She could smell the scent of old meat on his breath. The boy grabbed Kanye's face with thick fingers and yanked it upwards. She tried to turn away, but her forced her gaze back and jammed his thumb against her eyelid to pry it open. Damn, I want to punch that kid right in the face. Show me no. Did you just say no? Demo, grind heavily. You don't say no to me. No one says no to me. Excuse me. Not even taking his attention from Kanye. He called his cohorts? Come on, guys. Let's give the break what she deserves. As soon as Demo finished, kicks and blows began to rain down upon Kanye. Kanye. Wow. Demo puffed their granite as Kanye curled into a ball and tried to make the pain stop. I don't get you, freak. What you acting like a girl for, huh? Everyone knows what you really are. Kanye ignored the question, choosing instead to stare at the weather vane. He continued to point east, as if supremely confined about the future he had chosen for her. Go home. Yeah, that's a funny joke for someone with dead parents and no home to go to. Freak chanted the children. Freak, freak, freak. Kanye closed her eyes and listened to the rain, waiting for the pain to start again. As the clutching hands of the village children closed around her, she bent her mind to the sound of the rain, letting it calm her world entirely. The rain fell, but the pain never came. Only when the laughter of her tormentors turned to terrified cries did she dare open a single blood-caked eye. Kanye was shocked to see Dimple sprawl on the ground, holding his head and screaming in pain. That's what he gets. She could see blood flowing from spaces between his fat, twisted fingers. Oh my god, he's crying, he's actually crying. Deprived of their leader, the other children glanced back and forth between themselves as if waiting for someone to step forward and take charge. When no savior emerged, they began and they all uneasily shuffled away from Kanye. But the young girl was the least of their concerns. Instead, their attention was drawn on the ancient woman standing a few feet away. Was there her grandmother? After struggling for her breath for a moment, she finally spoke into a voice thick with rage. Her second pitch done it. Now I suggest you scatter before I throw another one. And if any of you little bastards ever touch my Kanye again, I'll do 4 words and throw a rock you can't count on. Yes, her grandmother. Grandma to the rescue. So the old woman crouched down and didn't touch the hand Thing was stretching to cover the wound. Before he could think to protest, she ground her palm into the wound and twisted back and forth. Oh! Ow! He screamed, leaping to his feet. Stop it! What are you doing? Quit whining. Ain't no one ever got that from a scratch. You hit me with a rock, you stupid bitch. A big one. That thing could have killed me. The woman shrugged. That is the best cure for stupid. Emma's face twisted with rage at her words, locking his eyes on Kanye. He took a step backwards and spat on the ground. Get out! Let this village know once you here, either of you. Seeing the old woman grab another stone, Dimo and his companions turned tail and ran. As they fled, the old woman grabbed her side and barked off single laughed. Look at that fat boy go. Guess he's healthy enough to run for a fight. The woman smiled faded as she turned her attention to Kanye. Kneeling down, she removed her doll and placed it around the young girl's shoulders. Then produced a cloth from the folds of her dress and began blotting out the blood on her forehead. Oh, Kanye, she said, why didn't you fight back? You're stronger than that. Blot? The words of her grandmother stung Kanye, and she turned away. Don't be nice to me, she said. I don't deserve it. Nothing matters anymore. Her tears held in check for so long finally began to fall on the muddy ground below. Everyone hates me. They think I cause bad things to happen. They think I'm a freak. I wish I was dead. As tears turned to sobs, she felt her grandmother's hands on her shoulders. Despite her advanced age and this diminutive size, she was a woman of surprising strength. And Kanye found herself unable to turn away. Don't talk like that, girl. It's a river wide and deep that flows between the realms of this world and the next. And it grants no mercy to any that attempts a crossing. You got a duty to fight until your last breath. Understand? The old woman tightened her grip and tried to still the tremor in her voice. You know the pain of losing someone close to you, Kanye. You know because you survived. As the world hits home, Kanye was struck by the force of her love for the old woman. As a young child, she didn't even know of her grandmother. But when her parents died, the woman quickly accepted her as her own. Grandma, as Kanye called her, was cunning, vulgar, and quick to violence, and their first few years together had not been easy. But with each year that passed, Kanye and her grandmother had grown closer. However, it was only now, sitting in the mud with tears and blood caking her face, that Kanye truly understood the depths of her affection. Here was a woman who had seen hard times, who had seen death, who had fought through all these things and somehow emerged on the other side. If anyone could understand Kanye's pains and loneliness, it was her. Do I make you sick, Grandma? Of course not. Don't be an ass. Kanye drew her grandmother's mouth, eating shawl around her body, and shuddered. But my body is not normal. If I was normal, then Mom and Dad wouldn't died. Hush, interrupt Grandma. I'll not hear another word of this nonsense. You're my granddaughter and I love you, and if folks have a problem with that, they just call to help. With that, the old one reached out and placed a wreath of dried flowers in Kanye's hair. The skill it took her to bend the flowers without breaking the stems, so losing a single petal was remarkable, and the beauty of it made Kanye want to cry all over again. Oh my gosh, these are Luna tears. Grandma, you made this for me? Oh, so that um Luna tears we found at her place. It was like a necklace or something. Her grandmother made it. Luna tears were legendary flowers. Most people could live their entire lives without ever seeing one. And yet her grandmother had somehow collected thousands or more. Kanye reached up and touched the wreath as she could believe it was real. Where did you find this? Just stumble on them while I was out doing the shopping. The old woman turned away as she spoke, leading Kanye to suspect that the search had been more difficult than she was letting on. The pains she took to construct the ornament, let alone track down the flowers used in its construction, made Kanye's heart hurt. She reached up and gently adjusted the wreath, admiring the way it fell between her fingers. Didn't quite turn out right, said her grandmother. She squinted at it. These old hands have trouble with delicate work, but it sure looks good on pretty girls like you. Kanye blushed and turned away. You think I'm pretty? Of course you are. What a fool thing to say. Thank you. Her grandmother smiled. We're gonna be fine, you and me, she said. As long as we got each other, we'll be just fine. Kanye took her grandmother's hand in hers, and the two of them struggled to their feet. As they began the long walk home, Kanye gripped her hand with all her might, as he was trying to stop smoke from drifting away on the wind. The rain had stopped. Kanye stood beneath the weather vane, watching it spin in lazy circles, no longer caring about the direction it faced when it stopped. I don't need to escape. I have a home now. Grandma loves me, and that's enough, even if it's us against the world. Kenya let her gaze drift up past the vane and into the cloudy sky. The last faint hints of rainbow were slowly fading. As she turned and headed for home, the lights gathered into a million particles and vanished, seemingly taken away on the breeze. Kenny's dream faded. More reading, yay! In the distance, Kenny heard the steady sounds of an axe striking wood. The noise had a purposeful quality to it, as if she was hearing a master woodsman go about his work. The firewood being produced, however, was as far from a work of art as could be. Pieces of every shape and size were being flung about a barren yard while abandoned. Anyone trying to stack such wood would probably die of frustration before the job was through. Stupid piece of shit axe! Kenya's grandmother flayed away with the axe, filling the air with both splinters of wood and words that would make the most hardened sailor blush. Grandma, called Kanye. That you, Kanye? Yet the old woman took her eyes off the wood for a moment. Don't get too close, or I might take your goddamn foot off by mistake. She brought the axe down on a piece of wood, sending chips flying in every direction. One spun past Kanye close enough for her to hear the whistle, at which point she decided to step back. Once she scuffled to a safe distance, she cupped her hands around her mouth and shouted, Grandma, do you need help? Can get you water or lunch or a new axe or something? The axe blade struck another wobbly blow, pausing midair. The old woman considered her granddaughter's offer for a moment, then smiled. Tell you what, since I'm doing such a piss poor job of shopping, why don't you come here and take over so I can go to get the water? Shades have been restless lately, and I don't want you running into one of them bastards. Relinquish the axe, her grandmother picked up a low pole with wooden buckets on either end. Gathering water was far the more difficult of the two jobs, but Kanye knew better than to complain. Once Grandma's mind was set, there was no changing it. Kanye did her best to help with chores, but Grandma took her every task that required travel to the village. Though she had a long list of plausible excuses, Kanye knew the real reason she didn't want her granddaughter to be taunted in her rights by the villagers. Once Kanye moved in, Grandma decided to take up residence a good distance from the area. Out of sight, out of mind seemed to be the best policy when it came to the villagers and her granddaughter. And rare were the days when any but the two of them could be found in the rocky acre of land they called home. Kanye enjoyed the solitude but harbored a secret resentment that her grandmother was forced to spend her golden years in such a place. After watching her grandmother leave, Kanye turned attention to the task at hand. She had never chopped wood before in her life and soon discovered why the old woman hated the chore. Swing after swing of the axe produced a very tiny crack in the woods, and when she finally managed to connect with a solid stroke, the tool embedded itself in the log and refused to budge. Frustrated, Kanye swung the axe around her head and threw it, log and all, across the yard. Damn it up! Crack! She suddenly understood the joy her grandmother felt in good course. Happier now, she picked up the axe, forced it from the wood, and resumed shopping. She had a natural skill with a blade, but the task was challenging and the blisters began to form on her small pink hands. This is tough, and my logs are all weird sizes. Spitting on her palms and ignoring the pain, Kenya redoubled her effort. Just as she was developing a rhythm, Grandma returned from the village. Setting down her bucket with a small sigh, she took one look at the logs and coughed out a whistle laugh. Pretty clumsy girl, you better practice if you. Oh no. Her grandma suddenly collapsed to her knees, causing one of the buckets to wobble precariously. Eyes wide, Kenny dropped the axe and ran to her grandmother's side. Grandma! The old woman shook her head and pointed a trembling finger at the bucket. Get the bucket! Can't let it spill! Kenny steadied the bucket with a foot as she knelt by her grandmother. A small bit of water sludged over the side and made a new home in the hem of her dress. Made a new home in the hem of her dress. But Kenny didn't notice. Grandma, what's happening? Crazed with panic, she grabbed her grandmother by the shoulders and shook. After a moment, the woman lifted her arms and battled Kenny away. Stop that, just stop, she cried, breathing heavily. It ain't like I'm dying. Just tired on the trips is all. Katie desperately wanted to believe her, but one look at the old woman's shaking hands and warm face told her more than words ever could. Her grandmother had lived a long, hard life, and it seemed the bill was finally coming due. The time when her grandmother watched over Canya's was ending. Sooner than either of them had feared, the positions would be reversed. The next morning, came to the side of her grandmother's bed and took her wrinkled hand. Grandma, you're sick. You need medicine. I'm going to the village. Oh, but she doesn't want her to go to the village because those kids. The old woman shook her head and tried to rise, but Kenya gently pushed her down. It's all right, she said. I'll be fine. Her grandmother fixed her with a gaze that could melt steel. After what seemed an eternity, she finally lowered her eyes and sighed. Well, I don't like it, goddammit. But I guess I should quit being so stubborn and let you grow up. The old woman watched as Kenya strapped on her boots and made her way down the road to the village. Hours later, as an unseen sun made its way across the dark and rainy sky, she was still watching. Kenya moved at brisk pace, checking her pockets every few minutes to make sure the money her grandmother gave her was still there. Every noise caused her to spin on her heels, making sure she wasn't being stalked by a shade or worse, Demo and his gangs. But she encountered neither tormentors nor shades, and Kenya finally found herself at the entrance to the village. The few those she could see glanced sideways at her, then muttered to each other behind raised hands before slinking away into the shadows. Her heart racing, Kenya took a series of rapid, shallow breaths and tried to calm herself. I have to prove myself. I have to help Grandma. I have to be strong. She chanted those words to herself over and over as she slowly burned away. Finally, her eyes set on a round-toned older woman who was angrily waving her arms in the air and telling anyone who would listen exactly what she thought of Kenya's princess. Hey lady, said Kenya with a bravado she did not feel. Where's the apothecary? The woman in flowery cheeks shook in with anger. How dare this thing speak to me? They seem to say. But Kenya saw her eyes held a different emotion, fear. Yeah, we both scared the lady. Trust me on this one. Oh, we're both scared, lady. Trust me on this one. Which way? Kenya repeated. The woman pointed at a small building to her right before hitching up her dress and stumbling up into the other direction. Kenya grinned, expecting a stone to come flying from the assembled crowd. None came. Her mind was filled with a strange sense of pride as she made her way to the apothecary. But the new emotion had little time to take root, for as soon as she opened the door, she noticed a familiar customer at the counter. Oh no, did she saw Demo? Hey, I knew it! It was Demo. He'd clearly been sent here on some kind of family errand because his gangs of followers was nowhere to be found. Oh my god, he sputtered. What are you doing here, Vic? The insult was delivered without force, and Kenya happily ignored it. Stretching on tiptoes to see over the counter, she asked the shopkeeper for the medication. Ha! Barked Demo. That old bitch finally killed. Oh, can't believe he just said that. What a bitch. Go to hell, Demo. The boy's eye grew so wide it seemed ready to fall out of his head, but before he could let fly, come back with words of punch, the apothecary told him to knock it off before he kicked them out of the store. Demo slunk out of the shop, cursing Kenya under his breath. Once he was gone, she allowed herself to breathe once more, taking a brief tour of the shop while the owner prepared her medication. Countless tiny bottles filled the cramped store, each with a label writing in some indecipherable language. An ocean of aromas assaulted her nose, creating scent that was exotic, but not altogether unpleasant. Seeing such variety of supplies gave Kenny a sense of peace. Surely in a world so vast, there would be a place that she could call home. On the far wall behind the counter rested a portrait of a stunning young girl. The picture had once contained bright, vibrant colors, but time had worked its cruel magic and they were beginning to fade. The beauty of the work, however, remained undiminished. You like that picture? Kenya turned to find the apothecary with a small bottle of medicine in his hand. His eyes were gentle but sad, and they seemed to stare to her and to nothing as he spoke. That's my daughter. I sketched her when she was a little girl. She's been dead a long time now. Kenya didn't know how to respond. She just stared at the portrait and tried to come up with the right words. Pictures of wonderful things, continued the shopkeeper. You let the ones close to you to live on forever. He shook his head slightly, then looked down at Kenny and smiled. Handing her the medicine, he reached into his sizable green apron and produced a handful of old wax crayons. You should have this. There's no one left that I wish to draw. Kenny took an instant step back, causing the shopkeeper's face to darken. Yes, I heard rumors about you, he said. It's a small village and words travel quickly. Between you and me, I'm not sure which of them to believe, but I also don't think they matter much. I know your grandmother, Callie, and I think the way she was driving out of this town is just deplorable. Grandma's name is Callie? Okay, I need something. She was still mumbling this new fat over in her mind as she reached out and gently took the crayons from the apocalypse's hands. Your grandma is no friend of mine, he said as Kenny scooted away yet again, and I owe her much. I figured she would like it if you drew a picture of her. Yes, I think she would like that very much. Kenny murmured a quiet agreement, and inside her heart was bursting. Never before had a villager treated her with anything but complete contempt. It was a tiny, almost impedable step, but it was a step nonetheless, and with enough but tiny steps, she might one day discover the rest of the world. When Kenya returned home, she found her grandmother asleep in her bed. Her feet were blackened and raw, even bleeding a bit in places, leading Kenya to think that she had been pausing around the room until exhaustion finally caught up with her. She placed the medicine by her grandmother's pillow and turned to leave, but found the old woman's hand clasped around her arm. Back already, are you? Asked her grandmother young. Come here, let me have a look at you. Grandma sat up and examined Kenya from head to toe, finally satisfied that nothing terrible had befallen her grandchild. She leaned back and allowed herself to relax. Well, that was it. Those bastards gave you any trouble? It was kind of fun, said Kenya with a small smile. No, seriously, it was. Fun, eh? Asked her grandmother in a voice which implied she believed anything but. Aha, so anytime you need me to run an errand, just let me know. As she spoke, Kenya removed the crayons from her pocket. After a brief explanation of the source, she informed her grandmother that she was going to sketch her portrait. A portrait of me? Ridiculous! No one wants to stare at a wrinkled old crone. But Grandma, I'll make you live forever. Horseshit, said her grandmother, drawing back the sheet from her bed. Will living forever will just piss me off. Now put those crayons away and help with dinner. But Katie would not relent, and in the end, Grandma found herself leaning against the wall of their house, as if posing for a master artist. Katie took off the crayons to eye her subject carefully and set to work. Just as her grandmother was about to nod off, Kenya finished the piece. After staring at it for a bit, she released it from her grip and let it slowly drift to the floor. It's terrible! It doesn't look like you at all! I'm sorry, Grandma. I thought it's crayons would, make drawing easier or something. She thought crayons are magic! The old woman's eyes narrowed at her granddaughter's disappointment. Let me be the judge of that, she said, rather than painting her back and reaching for the paper. The sketch could have been a person's face. It also could have been a boulder, a lump of clay, or an incredible misshapen loaf of bread, all rendered in a chaotic array of colors. The old woman stared at the picture for a long time, then slowly whisked out a laugh. Oh, Candy, she said between laughter, you truly are my blood. You are clumsy as me, and I love it. But, hush, I won't hear any more bull about how ugly you think it is. It came from the heart, and I'll treasure it always. True to her word, the woman gave the picture the place of honor above the kitchen table. In the days that followed, Kenya would often catch her staring at the portrait with a strange smile on her face, and in action, she interrupted a silence, mocking laughter. A week later, Kenya could stand it no more and asked her grandma to take the artwork down. Gosh, said the old woman, I'll take this down when they're rolling in my shop. She pondered this for a bit, then turned to Kenya and dropped to one knee. Listen to me, girl, seeing this picture makes me happy in a way I never felt before. And it makes me want to go on and so that someday you can feel the same happiness. It was the moment that burst itself into Kenny's memory, a perfect blend of pride and love and joy that came together to form a lifelong remembrance. She swore to never forget this moment, to never forget the old woman who had made her place in the world possible. Time moves on, people and memories move in and out of a life like ghosts passing through a hall. But this moment will be different. Kenny is sore because I will remember it forever. Forever. Separation. This is a lot of reading, holy shit. But it's interesting. Kenny listened to the sound of crackling firewood and stared at the black object on her plate. She'd been pushing it around the wooden desk for a good 10 minutes, ignoring the bemused stare of her grandmother. Finally, she summoned her courage and gave object a brief sniff. A sharp, bitter scent flew up her nostrils and made it home there, causing her face to twist with disgust. Grandma, I can't believe you want me to eat a bug. Ew. The old woman threw some more wood under the cooking pot and snored. It's not a bug. It's a bug, you fool. It's a bear. Oh, the berry. So that's why she likes berries. That's why she ate that poison berry. What the hell? Will I be feeding you bugs? You never know. You never know. Yeah, well, it sure looks like a bug to Kenny, and I think it burns or something because it smells terrible. Yeah, I think it's a poison one. With that, Kenny held her nose and threw the berry in her mouth, chewing as little as possible. But yeah, that's terrible, alright. Why, you little brat! Laughed the old woman. Look at the stats on you. You've been spending too much with me, and that's a fact. 5 years have passed between you and Kenny's grandmother saved her from the bullets. Whoa, I didn't know. Ooh. So 5 years passed since they left the village because Kenny was being bullied. Okay. It's often the way with two stubborn people. The relationship had grown in fits and starts, but it moved forward all the same. Meals that used to be somber affairs were now filled with laughter and horror abuse in equal measure. Kenny could not remember a time when she had been happier. As the years went by, Kenny started to shoulder more and more of daily responsibilities. Her grandmother's leg grew weaker by the day, and she could no longer do many of the chores she used to take for granted. And so this morning found Kenny lacing up her work boots with a breakfast of firm berry rolling through her belly. Where are you going to? Where are you going today? Asked Grandma suddenly. Kenny looked up surprised. The old woman really asked for specific anymore. Well, I was gonna go check out on the kelma trees and see if they were ripe. Ripe? I say that word rip? Ripe? I don't know. I thought we could make some yam or something. Oh, I'm going to pick up some flagstones, so I need to take the wheelbarrow. Flagstones? What in the hell for? Kenny's stared at grandmother, then held out an arm and swept it around their home. Construction mostly of cloth, rope, and rubble on the old place stacked like a boxer in the final round. Grandma, a dying cat could chew up through this house. I'm going to build a stone wall so we have some protection. The old woman laughed, exposing her toothless crying to the world. Goddamn, girl, if a bunch of thieves want to rank this old place, let them come. Got nothing worth stealing anyways. I'm not worried about thieves, I'm worried about shades. People saw one west of the village yesterday. The old woman tilted her head and stared at her granddaughter. Well, shoot, I don't know why you have to do it today. We can worry about it some other. Grandma? No. If I don't go to the kelma trees, we won't eat tonight, you know that. A confused expression paused across the old woman's face, and for some moment she was a small child lost at a carnival. Yeah, she shouted a bit. Yes, of course you're right. I'm sorry, Kenny. Lately it seems my mind is. She didn't finish the thought, instead walking over to the nightstand and gently taking the rings of gluten tears from the drawer. The flower petals have aged with brilliant whiteness, and Kenny thought it was more beautiful now than the day she first received it. You're gonna be a true woman soon, Grandma said as she placed the flowers in the girl's hair. So that means less chatter about shades and building. Defensive walls and more. Talk about how beautiful you become. Annoyed, Kenny reached out to remove the garland, but the look on her grandmother's face stopped her hand. You're a beautiful thing to the woman, and there ain't another like you in all the world. I'm very proud of you. Okay, Grandma, that's enough. Goddamn compliments for one day. Such a mouth on you. Where did that come from? Gee, I wonder. I'll teach you to sass me, girl. Suddenly, she lurched forward and grabbed Kenny by the ears, pulling her around the room with a great grin on her face. Grandma, yelled Kenny in a quaking voice. Grandma, stop it. What the hell? The old woman stared at her and blinked, then slowly held her wrinkled hand out as if it was the first time she had ever seen them. Oh, I don't know what happened there. I'm sorry, girl. Sometimes my mind just... Kenny had thought the look on her grandmother's face was the most heartbreaking thing she had ever seen. Please, she began. Maybe I should stay home after all. No, I won't have you stay here to keep an eye on an old cogger like me. You go get your food and your walls and whatnot. I'll be fine. And when you come back, I have a nice grasshopper dinner waiting for you. Kenny rolled her eyes, then kissed her grandmother on the forehead and made ready to depart, trying desperately to ignore the worry that was gnawing at the walls of her heart. Kenny could feel the old woman's eyes watching her as she moved down the path. Don't turn around, she told herself, but in the end of temptation was too great. She spun her heel for one final look and saw a small, thin woman standing in from a ramshackle hut with a sad expression on her face. Gosh, she looks so old now. It's like the wind could reach down and just carry her away. Kenya worried about her grandmother all day, causing her work to suffer. All the fruit she could collect was tossed carelessly into the wheelbarrow, and she only found a couple of stones before losing interest in the project. Finally, as dusk approached, she decided to call it a day. Cursing herself for the lack of focus, Kenya paused the nearly empty wheelbarrow back down the path. As she crested the final hill, she suddenly froze in place. The wheelbarrow fell from her fingers and collapsed on its side, sending a few pieces of wrinkled brown fruit rolling back down the hill. Her gaze was transfixed by a thick, black cloud that hovered just ahead. Tracing its path with a finger, Kenya suddenly felt her stomach knot on itself. No. Oh gods, no. Her grandmother's house was ablaze of flames. Wait a minute. Did they just caught the house on fire? Somebody do it? Oh, it was a shade. Oh. Oh, is this the same shade that we fought? That golden slimy looking thing that she said. You see that? That's mine. It's yeah, cause they look like a lizard. And now they look like a lizard. Oh, so the lizard killed her grandmother. Seeing Kenny, we're gonna have to read. It let out a roar and flick its tail, sending small whirlwind spinning around the yard. For a moment, the creature retreated into a shimmering, inky blackness, as if her mind was unable to comprehend that such a thing could actually exist. But then the smell hit her, a blend of rotten meat and excrement, and the horror became real once more. The creature blew low again, and this time Kenny responded with a scream of her own. Alright, you bastard, she thought as her screams echoed off the high cliffs around them. It's you or me, let's go. The shade-eyed Kenya with bemused interest, then it began looking from her to the house and back again, as if urging her to look at the destruction it had so clearly wrought. With dread building her heart, Kenya glanced toward the house. Through the smoking flames, she spotted a small figure struggle to escape the ruin. Grandma! At the sound of her voice, the woman became waving frantically. She's alive! Tell Kenny alive! Kenny's legs ran to life as she raced across the yard toward the flaming wreckage of the house. Before she could advance more than a few steps, the shade opened its mouth and let out a roar powerful enough to uproot trees and send them flying. Blasting Kenny stumbling through the air before smashing her against the rocker as stars danced in front of her eyes as she tried to remember how her legs worked. Get up, get up, get up, get up, get up, get up now. As Kenny struggled to her feet, the shade stomped toward the house and pinned her grandmother to the ground with the tip of the claw. The old woman struggled to move the claw from her stomach, but she might well have been pushing a mountain. She coughed freely, sending a small spray of blood into the air, then collapsed to the ground, her energy spent. Jenny lurched to her feet, only to fall back to earth with gasps. Her ankles were on fire, one or both of them were sorely broken. Knowing the pain that streamed through her body, she began dragging herself across the ground, leaving a drunken trail of dust and blood in her wake. Grandma! Hold on, just a little longer. The grandmother's face was turning blue, her eyes rolling back onto one of the white spurs closed. Kenya pulled herself across the ground with maddening slowness. The distance seemed to increase with every second that passed. The shade glanced between the two women and flicked out his tongue, his giant mouth turning up at the corners, short, panting breath belched from somewhere deep inside his throat. Bastard laughing at us. She had no idea how much a mindless creature could experience emotion, but there could be no doubt that she was taking joy in their suffering. Yeah, I see your plan. The shade moved its claws slightly, allowing Grandma to breathe again. It was clearly keeping her alive, only to snuff out her life when Kenya was close enough to touch her. I'm gonna kill this bastard. Summoning her strength, Kenya rose to her feet. There was a sacred snap from her right ankle as the foot twisted backwards, but she forced from her mind and began hobbling towards the monster. Pulling a small knife from the pouch of her waist at her waist, she leaped on the foot that pinned her grandmother and flung the weapon down. The weapon did. Give her back, she screamed. Give her back to me. It was like stabbing a rock after a few stabs. The knife broke at the hilt with a dull snap. The shape panted laughter again, then raised its tail and sent it rushing through the air toward the young girl that was lashed to its foot. Kenya never had a chance. The tail struck her square in the chest and sent her crashing into the burning wreckage of the home. As she lay on the ground with blood pouring from multiple wounds, a small weak voice spoke up. Kenya. Kenya's vision blurred, but she forced herself to focus on the sound. Finally, her eyes cleared out for her to make out her grandmother's hand reaching out to her smile. Run. Kenya, you gotta run. You can't bet. You can't. Best this one. Kenya grabbed the hand and held on with all her strength. Grandma, come on, we have to go. The old woman coughed loudly. One of her hands slicked with blood slipped from Kane's grasp and thumped to the ground below. Grandma, no, no! I said, run! God damn it! You have to leave. You have to get through. The thought was there forever unfinished. Before she could say any word, the shade's claw foot descended, smashing through the remains of the roof and down upon the shattered figure of the old woman. Oh. Wow, that's so sad. I
The
really like the
beast
relationship of
approaches.
Kanye and
I
her
know.
grandmother. Yeah, we gonna fight this thing again? No, no way! Really? Okay. Yeah, that was sad. What happened to her grandmother?
What anger this creature must have. How did it even survive these past 5 years?
I'm not gonna let this happen again. It dies today.
My sword feels lighter. It's not the blade, but the skill of the user. Strike it down.
What are you trying to say, Waste? Huh? What are you trying to say about the skill of the user, huh? That's supposed to be a compliment or what? Huh? Oh. Already. Gently, quickly, softly, the shade sure that its tormentors was dead, turned and stomped off towards the horizon, stomping along the way to below in the final roar. Couldn't kill it. Yeah, they couldn't kill it yet, 'cause that's why it shows up. As we saw, yeah, it's when my character, meets Kanye. Shame beyond imagining, Kenya tried to turn her head to the side but only succeeded in coughing up a huge gout of blood. It was getting difficult to see, and only after a moment of fierce concentration did she realize her left eye was gone. Oh, what? So she lost an eye? Oh, don't tell me that's Demo again. Can I kill this dude? And then Dream, just kill him. Gotta help them, which I thought the unseen as silent. Go to hell before I pluck out your eyes and feed into a dog. The voice of a shouter evaporated into smoke, only to be replaced by another, more recent voice. Hold still to the apocalypse, materializing from the ruins like a ghost. I want to draw you, that way you can live forever. Huh? Wait a minute. Oh, he drew her grandmother. Kenny opened her mouth to thank the man, but stopped. That speech began to blacken in the middle before she could say anything. Dozens of multi-legged insects began to swarm across the image, tearing at it with sharpened pincers. Stop, nose, don't hurt that picture. Kenny reached out for a remaining arm and waved floatily at the air. To her surprise, the insects fell the picture into the ground below, where they vanished into tiny black tendrils of smoke. Relieved, Kenny turned her good eye back to the picture, only to open her mouth in a silent scream. The sketch now showed her grandma as she truly was. Oh! What? It's perfect now. She looks just like you. Oh my god. Also, I think the one that's talking is the shade that's inside her. It's got that now. Oops. Wow, choke the goddamn life out of people. Wow. I know how to play so late. So wow. That little fat kid. So that Shay's name is Tyran.
alive! Stay alive!
Grandma.
Kaine, you gotta live! You gotta come back to us!
Oh, hey. Emil, you were the one calling me, weren't you?
You still recognize me?
Of course. I knew you right away.
Thank you, Kaine.
Welcome back, Kaine.
Wow, you grew up. So, how long has it been?
5 years.
Shit. That's a long time. Any luck with Yona?
We are still no closer to finding her. We need a way to locate the Shadow Lord.
By the way, this is for you.
Is that a lunar tear?
It's not as good as your grandmother's, but I tried.
No, it's great. Thank you.
Kaine waking from her long petrified sleep. Emil's unflagging kindness. Our reunion was a happy one, and we let it wash over us like rain. That is, until Devila and Popola had to go and ruin it all. Are you kidding me? You can't be serious!
Please try to understand. People are tired and scared, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry you have to bear the brunt of that.
This is crap, and you know it!
It's okay. We can sleep outside.
No one's sleeping outside. You and Kaine saved this village, and now they want to run you out?
People are afraid of us. And really, I understand. I mean, look at me. As long as you're still with us, I can deal with it. Right, Kaine?
I'm used to sleeping outside.
But...
We'll see you later.
Sorry about this.
What is the matter?
Kaine always sleeps outside. I never thought about that until just now. Never even occurred to me. Damn it.
We should turn in.
I didn't get much sleep that night. For the first time in my life, I hated Devila. For the first time in my life, I doubted Popola. But those feelings are pointless in the end. They said and did what they did for the sake of the village. To protect it from the horror of the Shades. Really, how can I blame Devila and Popola? In the end, I'm just as bad. Because I never once stopped to think about Kaine and Emil's situation myself. I should apologize to Kaine and Emil, but what good would that even do?
I got a fire going.
Wait, is that...
Campfire? I'm so happy to get to talk to you again, Kaine.
Campfires are weird.
Yeah, me too.
I tried everything I could think of to save you, you know. I polished you with a special cloth. I poured warm water over you.
Wait, you poured water on me?
Yeah, but it didn't really do much except make you all shiny.
Hey, Emil. Thanks for saving me.
I guess you noticed how I look different now.
I'm sorry, Emil. I'm sorry for all of it.
Well, I mean, this new form isn't all bad, you know? At least I can look at you when we talk, right? Hey, so why don't you tell me something about yourself?
I'm not very interesting. Sorry.
Come on, I just want to know you better. Please?
Fine. This all happened when I was a kid. Before the whole shade possession thing. My body is different. And when the villagers found out about it, they started treating me like a freak. But one person, my grandmother, accepted me just as I was, no matter how bad things got. She gave me the strength to keep going.
She's really special to you, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, hey! That gives me an idea. Since we cured your petrification, we should start looking for a way to cure your possession in my body. I know we can do it if we all work together. Heck, it'll probably be super easy.
Let me guess. More warm water?
Okay, can we just forget I told you about that?
He just made you all shiny.